Am I the jerk for canceling plans with a friend because they changed them? Ever since school ended at the end of May, a friend and I haven't been able to see each other in person. It has been 2 months. Let's call her Josephine. We made plans to hang out at a local shopping center. On the day, she called me saying she could not go because her parents asked her to babysit her little sister at home. She called me, apologizing and saying that we could move it to the next day with no issues. I was not mad and understood her, so I agreed to move the plans to the next day. The next day came around and I was sitting in my bedroom, ready to leave, as we agreed to take the same bus to the shopping center. She would get on it first and then I would get on the bus she was on. I noticed that she had not texted me, alerting me that she was on the bus that we agreed to take. The bus app indicated that the bus had departed a few minutes ago. I texted her asking for clarification, and she said she was going to take the next bus as her aunt brought her a bunch of new clothes at the last minute, and she wanted to change. I was a bit weirded out by this as it felt like a weird excuse and was also rather blunt, but I let it slide anyway. As the next bus came around, she texted me saying that we should just meet there and take separate buses. I got mad and expressed my anger to her due to the sudden change of plans. The plans were constantly getting delayed, which was ticking me off from the start, and the rearrangement of buses was the last straw for me. We canceled the plans. Josephine kept asking me why it was such a big deal as it would be the same thing, except we would not take the bus together. I explained that I was thrown off by the sudden change of plans and no longer wanted to go, as she gave little explanation and just changed the plans suddenly. She later called me out of the blue and asked me to elaborate on why I was mad. I explained that the multiple delays were inconvenient. She then said that it was not a big deal as it was summer and we had all day. For context, I had plans after the hangout with her. I then also said how I did not like how she changed the plans so suddenly at the very last minute. She kept telling me that she did not understand how it was a big deal, and that if I were to do the same to her, she would not react the way I did. Overall, I just feel like my feelings are invalidated and overlooked. The hangout was constantly adjusted to Josephine's convenience, and I didn't like that. It was more about the principle rather than the actual situation that made me upset. She kept changing the plans with little sympathy, and when I expressed my unhappiness to her, she invalidated my feelings completely. Am I the asshole? You're not the asshole for canceling plans with Josephine. She's treating your time like spare change she can toss around, and it's not just inconvenient, it's disrespectful. When she constantly flips the script to suit her whims and dismisses your feelings, it's a major red flag. Friendships aren't supposed to be a one-way street where you're the only one compromising, so standing up for yourself is completely valid. Am I the jerk for not telling my sister an inside joke that she stinks? A part of my family moved to California from Pennsylvania, so my sister and I were helping them get settled in. We spent over 2 weeks there. My sister, my eldest niece, and I stayed in one room. My sister and I shared a bed together, and my niece was on a mattress on the floor. One day, I walked into the room and I smelled something strange. My niece was in the room, so I asked her, "What is that smell?" She shrugged. I went to the bed and smelled my side of the blanket, but there was nothing. When I smelled my sister's side, it smelled like a smelly scalp. My niece saw my reaction and started laughing. I whispered to her, "Man, her head stinks." We quietly giggled. Our last night in California, my 3 nieces, my sister and I were goofing around in that room as our last bonding session. My younger niece was on the bed and she said, "Why does it smell weird?" My eldest niece, who is not good at keeping secrets, said quietly, "Maybe it's your smelly head." I gave her the side eye and she could not control her giggling. Everyone was confused and wanted to know what she said. My poker face was bad, so they knew I was in on it too. I did not want my sister to know because I did not want to embarrass her. She also has a history of being really mean when I say something she does not like. She would not let it go, and all 3 of them harassed me and my niece for an hour. They thought that we stank up the bed. My niece and I did not want to share, but they would not leave the room until we told them. It was almost midnight, and we had to wake up at 4 a.m. to head back to Pennsylvania. They tried to guess if we put food, farted, or did something embarrassing. My niece and I kept saying to just drop it. I said, even if one of us did something that we are embarrassed about, the fact that you guys are harassing us to say it is really mean. My sister said, "Doesn't matter. You put it out there, so you have to say it. I could not handle the harassment." I said, "If I tell you who it was caused by, will you guys stop?" They all agreed. I told them it was my sister. I got up and left the room. I overheard my niece still being harassed, so I brought her out with me. After a few minutes, we went back into the room and everyone was silent. I told them I needed to sleep. My 2 nieces left quietly, and my sister got up and left too. I woke up at 4 a.m. and my sister ignored me the whole time. She would not even step foot in the room to collect her belongings, and instead used my sister-in-law to collect her things for her. My 2 other nieces said nothing either and only talked to my sister. I was hurt because this was supposed to be a nice goodbye, but instead it was uncomfortable. My sister hugged everyone while I was stuck awkwardly on the side. My 2 other nieces gave a forced hug to me. After we left, the whole car ride was miserable. My sister was still ignoring me. Am I the asshole? You are the jerk here, OP, and hardly anyone here is acting their age. You guys definitely know better than to be mean for no reason. Do you really have to come to Reddit to be told not to make fun of your sister in front of her children? Next time, if the sheets smell bad, be an adult and wash them. Maybe also be honest with your sister one-on-one if you think her hair is unwashed and smells weird, but don't embarrass her like you did. Am I the jerk for blocking off an alley by my house, which makes some neighbors angry? I have been living in an end-of-terrace house for over 25 years. Next to my house is an alleyway that is a dead end. When I first moved in, I decided to clean the alleyway and get the abandoned car that was parked there moved so I could start parking there myself. I have been parking there for a very long time. In my garden there is a drop-down where the previous owners had said it's there, so we can use the alley as a way to park in the garden. Recently, these people who have started living in the alley have been parking in front of my car. It has become a hassle because if I want to move my car, I have to ask them to move, and they get very angry. One time, one of them left his car in front of mine and went away for a long time, which is extremely out of order. Sometimes I would block off the alley with my car on the main road, meaning when his car was parked down there, he wouldn't be able to get out without asking me. Then he started to do the same back to me. One time he parked in front of me in the alley and refused to move his car when I was planning to go somewhere for my daughter's big birthday. He refused to move to the point where we had to call the police. As far as I was aware, the police were on our side, but there was really nothing they could do because it is more to do with the council. Ever since then, I have parked my car on the normal road, but the guy and his friend who also live in the alley have both been parking in the alley. They have become really comfortable parking there. Other people who live in the alley also have problems with these guys, but none are willing to stand up to them. There's a lady who can't get her pram out because of both of those cars parking down there. This was never a problem when it was only my car down there. The guy parks really close or on our property where the pavement is dropped down because it was supposed to be access for us to park in the garden. I have decided to put a pole there that means only one car can be down there. Am I the asshole for putting the pole there? And was I the asshole for also blocking off the alley? I don't block it off anymore. This is not the first time we've had problems with them. The police said the alley is a public road, so we have to go to the council. These guys are very hostile and entitled, and they're very disrespectful to my wife and daughters. They've even threatened them. Both of the guys also plot together and try to move as one unit against me. Everyone sucks here. You both sound like children, blocking off a public alley and calling each other entitled. You can't just put a pole in a public road and expect only you to use it. Either compromise or find a better hobby, because nobody owns that alley. Am I the jerk for sending my child to an accent coach for their accent? My children are third culture kids. We're from an African background, have lived in many countries, and have been in the USA for the past 6 years. I'm British, and my wife was raised in America, so our home is a melting pot of languages and accents. My son speaks with a standard British accent. He spent most of his childhood there, and the accent has stuck. My daughter, on the other hand, really struggles with her accent when speaking English. She transitions in and out of other accents. I suspect this is because, as a child, she had selective mutism and was recently diagnosed with autism. We had to homeschool her due to severe anxiety. When her brother was socializing in English with his peers, our daughter was at home speaking to us in languages she felt comfortable with. Regrettably, we didn't push her to challenge herself more with English. She is completely fluent, but her accent is just different. She is starting school this fall to complete her high school education in a mainstream school, and this will be her first time back in a real school since she was 12. A few weeks ago, she mentioned that she was insecure about how she spoke English. My wife is very big on radical self-acceptance, so she told our daughter to be proud of her accent because she can speak many different languages, and it doesn't matter if she sounds weird in English. I, on the other hand, was really concerned because she has a lot of anxiety, and it will make her transition into school difficult. She asked if we could send her to a speech therapist or an accent coach. My wife said no, but I thought it was a good idea. I found her one, and I told my wife that we needed to let her do this because it would be good for her mental health. My wife thinks that our daughter needs to learn to accept herself, but I don't think now is the time, especially when she is so anxious about rejoining mainstream education. My wife thinks it's internalized xenophobia, and I'm enabling my daughter to destroy her identity, which I feel is incorrect. Am I the asshole? You did the right thing. Your daughter has suffered from mental health issues, and if she asked for this, then it makes sense to support her. Teen peers can be cruel to anyone who is different, so it's the right decision to help her feel better and more confident. Any new knowledge and skill are beneficial, and your wife's intentions, while good, shouldn't outweigh your daughter's mental health and desires. Supporting her in this will only help her grow stronger and more secure. Am I the jerk for letting my partner tell their best friend about the conversation my close friend and I had about their shared friend? I, a 19-year-old female, recently reconnected with my best friends after not talking for a few weeks over a minor inconvenience. We went out for dinner and had a fun night. We went back to my friend's apartment to catch up on each other's lives. Throughout the conversation, Sophia and I started gossiping about Maria. Sophia was telling me about how Maria's situationship had been telling everyone about their private life. Maria is best friends with Tanya, my girlfriend, and I was told how she did not want her business aired out. The conversation lasted around 2 minutes because my friend Lola said it wasn't fair to be talking about it. The next morning, I decided to text my girlfriend Tanya to let her know that her best friend's business was being aired out to people she did not want to know. Tanya and I then wrote a paragraph together explaining the situation to Maria. Maria, very confused, said she didn't know who could have aired her business because she only told trustworthy people, and how her situationship Mario was allowed the same. Maria texted Mario, who denied everything and wondered where this information was coming from. Maria then asked me directly for confirmation about who told me, and Tanya admitted that it was Sophia who told me. Sophia, Maria, and Mario have a common friend group, including other people. Words started spreading about how Maria's private life is now public. Darla, best friend of both Maria and Mario, came to me and my girlfriend asking who told me that the business was being aired, but I refused to give a name. Sophia, who came back after being out of the country for a little while, seemed unaware of the whole situation. During a night out, I asked Sophia if she was made aware of what had been going on during her absence. She then proceeded to tell me how they were all at a party the day before, and everyone seemed fine and nobody told her anything. I then explained to her the full sequence of events, so she decided to directly confront Maria. During her explanation to Maria, Sophia left out some details purposely and lied about what was said in order to protect her friends. She then proceeded to blame everything on Tanya and told me that she needed space from me because she was very upset. A few weeks later, Tanya noticed how mutual friends had unfollowed her. On the other hand, Maria, Mario, and Sophia seem to have come over it and keep getting along very well. So the question I have for you all is, who is the asshole? And how should I approach the situation, because my girlfriend is clearly made the villain of the story when she was just trying to be a good friend. It sounds like a lot of high school drama has carried over, and it's gotten pretty messy. It wasn't cool that Sophia aired Maria's business, but it also wasn't great to get Tanya involved in the fallout. Communication seems to be the missing piece here, and it looks like some honesty could have prevented the whole situation. At this point, a direct and open conversation between all parties might help clear things up. Would I be the asshole if I keep doing my yoga without a t-shirt with children around? So I, a 26-year-old female, am camping at a caravan site 2 minutes away from the beach in a tent for a couple of weeks. While this campsite used to be mostly for tents, now there are about 3 grass pitches, and everything else is covered with caravans that remain there year-long, and are all kitted out almost like bungalows with verandas, TVs, dining tables, etc. My tent is in a pitch behind the back wall of one such caravan, but I don't see them, and they don't see me unless we walk up and down the path leading to the beach. A lot of the caravans belong to families with small children, around 3 to 5 or 6 years old, and the family next to my tent is a mother with 2 children. She can't be bothered to look after them and play with them and has left them to run free with their mates from the other caravans. She only shouts at them when they inconvenience her. The first day my pitch was super private, so I put up a string between 2 trees to hang my wet clothes on. The next day I came back from a short walk and everything was on the floor, and the kids were stomping on it. I went and politely asked the mother to tell the kids not to trash other people's belongings, and she said, "Well, where you've put your wet clothes is our territory, and our way to the laundry room." I doubt this is the case because I hadn't seen her do the laundry for an entire day and a half. And since that conversation, she started walking past my tent to get to her laundry room 10 times a day, I counted. I kept my washing line and clothes, and she hasn't said anything since but is now walking past my tent all the time doing tiny bits of washing as if there's nothing else to do. I don't mind, but I can interpret this only as pettiness. I do yoga in the morning, and here being in the mid-30s Celsius daily, I can't put on too many clothes, so I do it in a bralette and shorts. I do my yoga next to my tent, visible from the path to the beach. Along this path, the little kids run up and down with their bikes. We haven't interacted, and I have no desire to. Not my children, not my problem. The issue is, last night I woke up at 3 a.m. from the neighbors just chatting super loud in their caravan. After a bit, I overheard them trash talking how I'm doing yoga for everyone to see my buttocks and breasts, and how inappropriate this is with little children around. Now I'm scared of doing my yoga again because I feel like the woman will come and confront me. I don't feel like doing some yoga by my tent is a crime, and doing it in a bralette and shorts is no worse than walking 5 minutes further to see all the half-naked people at the beach. However, I am not great at handling confrontation and don't want to say something wrong. How can I gracefully handle the conversation and the situation as a whole? Will I be the asshole if I keep doing my yoga in a bralette and shorts? A bralette and shorts are super normal workout attire, especially for yoga when you need extra flexibility. It's an outfit you see so often in public where I'm from. People should just refrain from commenting on others and teach their kids not to stare at women going about their normal day. Unless it's something see-through, there's really nothing to complain about. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.